welcome. I'm going to start a little early because I'm just ready to go, and I'm going to play through some saw studies here, Opus 35, and they were recently published by Paul Brooks Horn. You can grab these on Amazon. You can get a physical copy. You can also get a Kindle, and you might be able to get a PDF. I can't remember if he has that option from the website. So great studies, really wonderful. They're progressive. So there's 24 exercises, 24 lessons, and they are progressive. So they do get more advanced as you go through them. There's a treasure trove of wonderful things to explore in terms of composition and harmony and counterpoint and various guitar textures and things like that. So thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy this. I've got 30 minutes here until my next commitment. So I'll try and play through as many of these as I can and give a little rundown. I did play a few a couple days ago, but I'll do it again. I enjoy these studies. They're the kind of things you can play again and again, like I'll come back to them on a regular basis, these studies by Fernando Saw. So I just want to mention this book again. Really cool thing is that Paul offers a tablature version, so you can get one that's notation only if you prefer just notation. But if tablature helps you to learn things, then you can get the tablature version, has notation and tablature as well. So let me know in the comments where you're joining from. I'd love to hear from you, and let me know if you have any questions about this music or Fernando Saw's music or harmony or composition or anything like that. Let's begin with study number one. So this is a pretty simple study in C major. Really melody focused study. So I think one of the main goals with this piece is phrasing, to bring the piece to life through phrasing. Let me know what you think about this guitar too. This is a new guitar by Roger Lee, one of his latest ones. It's a lattice braced guitar. Hey Thomas, good to see you, Thomas here. Lattice braced guitar. It's got an elevated fretboard, made in Australia, made like around the corner from me, pretty much, right here in Melbourne, Australia. Elevated fretboard, and I think it's a spruce top. I have to ask him. And a beautiful back and side. It's got a sound port, I think you call it, at the top there, where you can hear yourself more, I guess. So let me know what you think. I think it's quite new, and I've really enjoyed playing it. I'm very very blessed to get to work with guitar makers who are local, and get to play their instruments and give them feedback and see how they develop. It's a really, really great journey. So anyway, let's get on to business. Saw number one, study number one, Opus 35. Fred, hello, Fred. Yes, you think it's a spruce guitar. I'm pretty sure, but I have to confirm with the maker. Yeah, so there's a beautiful study there. Bringing the phrasing to life is really important to sing the phrase, to create a singing style, cantabile style. And a really easy way to do that, if you need like a sort of a framework to follow is to start the phrase slow and then accelerate into the middle of the phrase and then slow down again. So if you figure out how long the phrases are, usually they're 4 bars long. And this edition is really nice because, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but each line is 4 bars. So you see the phrases really clearly when they're lined up like that. So next study is number 2. This is also in the key of C major. It's in 3/8 time, so it's got a bit more of a rhythmic kind of feel to it. Excuse me, hope you enjoy. Okay, yeah, beautiful rhythmic feel. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the guitar. I think Spruce has that kind of clarity to it. That's, Cedar is very full and rounded and warm, and Spruce is a bit more cutting, and it's got that beautiful kind of brightness. You can kind of get you can kind of get into that. So next study, number 3, is a slow one. It's in A minor, much different in mood to the previous 2, partly because of the key. Much more melancholic. So I hope you enjoy these. And that's the beautiful thing about these studies, is they are very musical as well. So you can enjoy some nice music making as well as, certain techniques. So I think the first 2 studies I just played, they're really focused on, I think, primarily creating a singing style on the guitar through phrasing. This one also very much a singing style piece, but there's a bit more counterpoint in it now. So counterpoint meaning note against note is the sort of literal definition of counterpoint, but it's when you've got basically multiple melodies or multiple parts being played at the same time. So this one starts to get more counterpoint, rich in layers of melodies. So hope you enjoy number 3. we go. So beautiful study number 3 from Opus 35. I noticed there's a couple of members from the creative classical guitarists here, Thomas and Fred. We've been talking about things like parallel periods and form and modulations, both passing modulations and sustained. And Fernando Saw uses all of these things, parallel periods meaning a question and answer phrase. He uses modulation, so in the first section, in the A section, he's in A minor. In the B section, he starts off in the key of C for a little bit there, key of C, and then he goes back to the key of A minor. Towards the end, he does some passing modulations. Here, we're in A minor, D7 to G, and then E7 to F, which is a surprise cadence there. But he basically uses that E7 to go back to A minor, the dominant of the new key. So D7 is the dominant of G there, and then he goes E7, which is the dominant, to go back to A minor. So these are great for studying form, harmony, composition, counterpoint, key changes, all sorts of different things. All the while, you've got these beautiful pieces of music. So yeah, number 4 is next. It's in the key of G major. So I hope you enjoy number 4. Alright, that one is short and sweet in the key of G major. You can hear the key change is very good. That one that's a very obvious one. That's going, because we're going from G major in the A section, parallel period, and then eventually we go to E minor. Using the primary chords as well, 1 4 5 chords. So E minor, A minor, B7, back to E minor again. So all these things we learn on the creative classical guitarist, and all these things composers like Bach, Fernando Saw, Giuliani, Tárrega, Mertz, Barrios, Villalobos, Tedesco, lots of the composers that we play, they use these principles in their composition. Number 5, how are we going for time? Okay, number 5 is also in the key of G, but this is very different technically now, this piece. It's got like broken thirds or broken intervals. Looks like a lot of thirds, although there are other intervals featured in this one as well. So this is a really great technical exercise, but you still want to think about, clarity. You want to think about phrasing. You want to think about what is the melody. When you've got something, is it, or is it? Probably the bass part. So I'll try to bring that out, and I'll try to also bring out some phrasing through all the split notes out. One of the things about notation, tablature or notation really, is that most of the time we don't have phrase markings, so we have to discern where the phrases start and end. Otherwise, it can just look like a big sea of notes, and it can sound a bit like that. If, especially if you're sight reading or if you're learning something that's quite new, you can just start playing, and it just seems like this never-ending stream of notes. But by identifying where the phrases start and end, it splits the piece into pieces, into slices, much more manageable, and then you can start to phrase the music as well. So one recommendation I've got, think about the phrases, and you can even mark those into the music. So number 5, Opus 35. There we go. Study number 5. That's quite challenging. Now remember, it's progressive, or these studies are progressing, so they do get more advanced, and yeah, that is admittedly just a bit of a step up from the previous studies I think that we've heard so far, and we're going to just keep seeing that. That's another great thing about these studies, is that they keep you upping your game. You're not plateauing. You're advancing as you play through these studies too. So. Next study, number 6. Number 6 from Opus 35. This one's in the key of D major. Lots of parallel thirds here, but they're played as blocks. Okay, so it's a really great exercise for your left hand. It's really great for developing your legato when you play. That sort of thing, right? Okay, so just developing good, solid legato singing style playing while you're playing thirds. Here we go. Another short and sweet one there. That's great. Yeah, wow. It's short and sweet, but also quite challenging with those moving thirds. We're going into higher positions. Thomas says in the chat, yeah, he has issues with legato. Yeah, legato is one of the, I mean, the guitar is inherently a staccato instrument, so legato can be quite challenging. Something I encourage you to try is when the guitar kind of, something that helps me is that after I pluck the notes, I like to hear that. It sounds kind of, I guess, obvious and basic, but I think it's one of the keys to achieving legato, is that I just like to hear that decay. So I pluck the strings, I listen to the decay. If I hear the decay stop, like that, it's not going to sound legato. And you have to diagnose what's causing it. So it's usually the left hand lifting off too early. That's what causes it most of the time. But sometimes your fingers on the right hand might be also planting too early as well. So you have to kind of diagnose which one is it. Is it the left hand lifting too early, or is it the right hand fingers going back on the strings a little bit too early? Yeah, and Fred says keep fingers down longer. Yeah, that's what keeps the sustain going, right? Right hand's gone. It's the left hand now that maintains and sustains the sound. Okay, so that's a great study for developing legato. Number 6. Now we go to number 7. This really starting to advance. It's 2 pages long. It's in E minor. This is much more of an arpeggio study, as you'll hear, in the key of E minor. Excuse me, in the key of, and in the time signature of 12/8 as well. So it's got this kind of flowing feel to it. You'll definitely hear a nice key change in the middle, and then we'll go back to E minor again. Try and identify what key does it go to in the middle section. So we start in E minor, and then we change key. And then we go back to E minor again. The keys match the form, A, B, A, structure, ternary form. Here we go. This is number 7 from Opus 35. All right, beautiful study. That's really starting to get like pretty serious guitar music now in terms of level. So that's number 7. And yes, bonus points to Fred and Thomas. They are faithfully training in the creative classical guitarist, coming to our live sessions, learning, and they identified correctly. The piece moved to the key of G major in the middle, the relative major, and then went back to E minor again. There was a really interesting chord also in measure 25. That one. Now that's a chord that we studied last month. That's called an augmented 6th chord as well. So that's just another interesting thing. Fernando Saw also varies. So the first A section, he goes like this. And then he goes straight to A minor. He goes E minor straight to A minor. When he repeats the A section, he goes, towards the end, he goes E minor, E7. He changes the arpeggio a bit. Actually, I wouldn't say it's quite ternary form. It's more like, that's more like a coda at the end, but he kind of sets it up like as though he's going to repeat the A section again, and then instead he goes to a coda, sort of changes it up. It's like a little finale almost. And then he has those beautiful... sorry, what is it? Those beautiful chords at the end, yeah? So very nice guys. Thomas and Fred really studying well. Very good. Look at the bass notes. Yes, you can look at the bass notes. You'll see lots of E's in the key of E minor and lots of G's in the key of G major. You also want to look out for the primary chords, 1, 4, 5 chords as well. And that will give you clues as to when the piece is changing keys. All right, number 8. Oh, this is a nice one. I like number 8. I know this one. Number 8 is in the key of E major. And it has a few different sections to it. It's in 3/8 time, so this one is a bit more rhythmic. I think the previous one was a little bit more rhythmic in 12/8 time, a bit flowing. This one, when something's in 3/4 or 3/8 time, it creates a sort of a feel of like a waltz. So that's what I think this piece kind of has that feel to it. So here we go. This is study number 8 from Opus 35. Yeah, beautiful study, beautiful study. You can hear they just keep advancing, progressing as a lot of source studies do that. A lot of the collections, sometimes they're called 25 progressive studies or progressive etudes or progressive lessons. So that was number 8 out of 25. We'll probably only have time for, what's half of 25? 12 and a half? 12. Don't know if we'll get to 12. I'll try to get to 12 studies. Next one is number 9 in the key of A major. This one is again primarily a arpeggio study. So this is the arpeggio studies are really good if you want to learn about chords and harmony, because arpeggio studies typically, they're based heavily on chords. So you don't get a lot of passing notes and counterpoint, that kind of thing, that can make it more difficult to analyze the chords. So this is a great study, and I have assigned this one on occasion in the past as a piece to study the chords. It's really good for that, because essentially a chord progression just with arpeggios, as you'll see, as a lot of guitar music is. Eduardo said guitar music is founded on chords. Hey, welcome, Pavo. The B section, maybe A sharp. Interesting note in the B section. Maybe you mean the B sharp. Oh no, the A, yeah, A sharp in the B section. That's because it's going to the dominant of, it's going to the key of B major. B major, and then it goes back to A major, and then it goes, to E major, and then it has, so it goes A, B, A, and then it goes to the C section, goes to the key of A major, and then it goes back to E major again. Interesting form. It's quite multi, like there's like subsections and that kind of thing. Anyway, thanks for the comment. Good, very good. You noticed that. Etude number 9. Now here we go in the key of A major. Very nice. I really love that key of A major. Every composer of note has breathed his sincerest thoughts into that splendid key. That's how this key was described back in the day. All right, how are we going for time? Ooh, number 10 looks like a doozy. Number 10. Maybe I'll leave it. I might leave it there because we have a class on right now in the Creative Classical Guitarist. We've got our advanced class, so we're gonna talk about Satie and gymnopedies and see what people have been composing. If you'd like to join us, you can go to creativeclassicalguitarist.com. creativeclassicalguitarist.com, and there's an application you can fill out if you'd like to join us, learn about music. Many of the people in the chat here are part of CCG. So thanks for joining, and I will come back and try to play maybe the rest. I'm not even halfway yet, so I've got to, what's that, 9, 18, I can't add up, about a third of the way, I think. So thank you for joining, and see you next time. Please feel free to leave comments in the chat anytime, and I'll do my best to answer. All right, appreciate it.